Didn't know you were evil or that you would hurt me. Mr. Polystyrene guy. Turns out you're a twin. What the hell's his problem?
Just get out of his way, Jerry!
You're on me!
Get off the road and let him pass you!
Stop it!
I know he's not far!
You're around me!
Slow down and let him fucking pass you!
I'm trying!
Okay, so that opening scene of Jeepers Creepers was totally fucking freaky, right? Well, you know what makes it even more scary is the fact that it is based off of a real life event. Like, this actually happened. The writer, director of Jeepers Creepers actually got this from a story, a true story that happened back in 1990, and I am about to tell you all about it. Okay, so in 1990, 46-year-old Dennis Dupay murdered his wife Marilyn and then stashed her body. Let me give you some backstory. Okay, so Dennis and Marilyn Dupay were married for like 18 years. Marilyn wanted a divorce. She had told friends that she was very unhappy, and Dennis was so controlling and so abusive. And together, Dennis and Marilyn had 3 kids. Dennis did not want the divorce, but he actually didn't really fight with her on it. In fact, he gave her primary custody of all 3 kids, as well as most of the property that the 2 shared together. My opinion on that is probably the reason he did that. It was like a last attempt to kind of like reconcile the marriage. So that's probably the only reason he was being a nice guy, because everybody knew that he actually wasn't really a nice guy. So there's that. Marilyn came home one day from work and discovered Dennis in the house, which frightened the hell out of her, considering she had all the locks on the house changed and Dennis did not have a key. I wanted to mention too that the divorce was actually finalized in 1989. So they were completely divorced. He was out on his own. He did use the garage for office area, but other than that, Marilyn had the rest of the property to herself, or her and her 3 kids to share. And like I said, she had made sure all the windows were locked. She had changed all the locks in the whole house. Dennis did not have a key, so when she came home from work that day and he was sitting there in the living room, she was pretty freaked out. Like, you know, if I came home and somebody was sitting in my living room and I don't know how the fuck they got in my house, I don't know what I would do. Shit my pants. No, I don't know. But so this greatly upset her and she did ask him to leave. Dennis grew more and more angry because he was convinced that Marilyn turned the children against him. My guess is because they were older and they started to figure shit out on their own. They were also a bit frightened of their own father. On April 15th, 1990, Dennis went to Marilyn's house to pick up 2 of his children for a visit. And I believe April 15th, 1990, it was actually like Easter Sunday. So he went there to pick up 2 of his kids for like a holiday visit. He had said many times before that he thought Marilyn had turned the kids against him, but they were just frightened of him because of his behavior. He was so violent and so controlling. So they were, you know, basing their own opinions. Excuse me. So on April 15th, 1990, Dennis went to Marilyn's house to pick up 2 of the children for a visit. However, the children had refused to go with him, which made Dennis very angry. Like, we're talking scary angry. When Marilyn tried to talk to him, he started yelling at her and then grabbed her and threw her down the stairs. After that, Marilyn was knocked unconscious, so Dennis grabbed her and he told the kids he was taking her to the hospital, but Dennis and Marilyn never made it to the hospital. The oldest daughter ran to the neighbors to call the police. Later, Ray and Maria Thornton, who were brother and sister, just like the beginning of Jeepers Creepers, the brother and sister are riding down the road. So this is where the same scenario happened. I mean, how fucking freaky is that? That actually happened play by play. So next time you watch that movie, just remember this story. Remember it. So, okay, the brother and sister, they were on the road when a high-speed van passed them. They noticed the license plate started with a GZ. They had been playing the license plate game. A few minutes later, they passed an abandoned school and saw the same van parked there that was following them. They seen a man carrying something wrapped in a bloody sheet, and then they seen him leave with a bloody shirt. I'm sorry, but if I seen that just happening, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably floor it to like the nearest police station or something. See, we're back in a time where they didn't have cell phones. Now, obviously, if we had seen that, we'd be on the phone like, yo, we just seen this. But anyway, they saw him leave with a bloody shirt, and Ray was parked off on a side road so they could try to get the full license plate. They took off down the road, and as they were driving, they saw that the van was parked off to the side of the road, and they looked to try to get the full license plate, but they seen the man removing the license plate. They also seen that the passenger side door was all the way open, and on the inside, it was literally just covered in blood. They decided to return to the abandoned school and found the bloody sheet in an animal hole. So after the police arrived, it was discovered that the van belonged to Dennis Dupay and that he had just murdered his wife, Marilyn, by shooting her in the head. Marilyn's body was later found. God rest her soul. Dennis had disappeared but wrote letters to justify Marilyn's murder. He had wrote tons of letters and they were just filled full of irrational thinking. Like, he was just super fucked up in the head. I think he was a fucked up guy all along. Obviously, I feel like you kind of have to be in order to commit a crime like that. It was discovered that Dennis had changed his name to Hank Queen. He had an affair with a woman who would later learn that Hank was Dennis Dupay. Dennis managed to elude police and the public for about a year. An airing of this story was broadcasted on Unsolved Mysteries, which is one of the best fucking shows I've ever watched. A lot of cases were actually solved because of that show. So to me, that's great. An airing of the story was broadcasted on Unsolved Mysteries in 1991. And Dennis was found in Louisiana and crossing the border into Mississippi, which prompted the Louisiana police to start a chase. Finally, on March 21st, 1991, at the age of 47 years old, Dennis Dupay shot himself in the midst of the chase. So, I feel like this guy was a giant fucking pussy. He took the pussiest way out. I mean, I don't know. That's probably controversial. Like, suicide, the way he did it, he couldn't even man up and do his time. He did the crime, so he should do the time. He didn't suffer, he didn't anything, put his family through hell, and he just fucking takes the easy way out. What a piece of shit. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. Jeepers Creepers is actually one of my favorite movies. I just thought it was very original. It's not, a lot like all the other shit that we see all the time. So I really liked it. And when I was researching and I had seen that opening scene, Derry and his sister are driving down the road and they come upon the Jeepers Creepers character and he's Well, first he's following and he's right on their ass, you know, in that ugly vehicle that says "be eating you," which is just fucking creepy. Like every little detail was just perfect. I loved it. But they pull up, or they seen him pull up along a abandoned church, and he's literally shoving bodies down a chute. If you came upon that in like on a back road that nobody traveled very much, oh my god, I'd be fucking traumatized for life, for real. So, but yeah, watch Jeepers Creepers. Maybe watch a documentary on Dennis and Marilyn Dupay. It is a very interesting story, very sad, very tragic. There's so much more to that. I didn't even get into a lot of like the letters that he wrote and the burial type stuff. There's a lot of information about like the fact that you can't really find the graves, which is a little bit creepy too in itself. So if you want to do some research on that, go ahead. But I just kind of did the gist of the whole story, especially focusing on the fact that it was linked to that opening scene of Jeepers Creepers. And so with that, I will bid you farewell. Hope you like the story, and I will probably do, I always say I'm going to try to do more of these, which I really want to, but I think I'm going to try to keep every Sunday night to scary story time. So I will see you next Sunday. Have a great week, y'all.
Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those eyes?
Gosh, y'all get up, how'd they get so lit up? Gosh, y'all get up, how'd they get that size?
Golly gee,
When you turn those heaters on,
woe is me.
got to put my cheaters on.
Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers?
Oh, those weepers.
How they hypnotize.